Okay, it's the golden anniversary really of the WHO reports. It's report number 50 today. Report number 50. Looks a lot different from report number 1 on January the 21st, when you had 282 confirmed cases. And you had a very short list of countries and provinces with cases. And there weren't many. 60 new cases in Wuhan, or in Hubei province, which was by far the worst area. Okay, very short list of countries. Now we have a list of countries as long as your arm, and we have 115,000 cases, 113,000 cases, 4,000 deaths, 80,000 cases for China. Very, very few new cases though. Extremely low rate of increase. Outside China, enormous increase in new cases, 4,000, and 32,000 cases altogether, more than 800 deaths. Again, getting on for 200 new deaths like there were yesterday. In 109 countries, more than half of the countries in the world are infected, and it's still not a pandemic. And the risk assessment is very high, very high, very high, which of course it is. I think the risk assessment for China, I think, is a lot lower now. They ought to be lowering that now, because it's moved to the rest of the world. You look at the map concentrates not on China anymore, it concentrates on Europe. Okay, fair enough. So China, 20 new cases altogether. That number on the left there, just there. And then outside of China, huge number of new cases, 3 pages worth of countries, look. So it's a disaster. So what's happened to the South Korea forecast, the China forecast, the Italy forecast, and the rest of the world outside of China forecast for today with the new data? Well, with the new data, the China forecast doesn't change much. It's gone down a tiny bit, 81,400 cases. It's right at the top of the S-curve now. In other words, China's just flattening right out. Okay. Again, the trends for the deaths, the trends for the cases it's just bang on trend, as they have been really over the last 40 days. So the forecasting has worked really, really well for China. It forecasted that it would really slow down in the 80,000 cases region a long time ago. Forecast for China deaths about the same as yesterday, 3,400, because as you can see, the point, today's points and yesterday's point were right on the line. So that's not unexpected. Okay, South Korea. South Korea is looking quite good actually. South Korea is making a beautiful S-curve like China has, but a lot lower at about 10,000 cases. I had a forecast for 10,000 cases yesterday. You can see the new daily cases in blue have been falling for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 10 days in a row. Okay, the new let's have a look at the trend for South Korea. Trend looks lovely. Okay, exponential decay in the percentage change in cases, and this today's point is below what the trend would suggest, which has brought the cases down from from about 10,000 to 9,000. So 9,000 cases for South Korea. What about Italy? Well, I'm afraid Italy is a disaster zone, because if you look at the trend for Italy, we've actually had the beginning of a new uptrend in the daily percentage increases. It should be on this path as it is for China and South Korea. I said that this forecast was extremely tentative, and it is, and it's moved up and up and up and up and up. So I did have a forecast of 50,000 cases for Italy. If I enter these new coefficients, it gets an awful lot worse. if I entered yesterday's coefficients, actually, I would have got 82,000 cases for Italy from 50,000. That means that Italy will overtake China. But if I enter today's data for Italy, because the line gets shallower and shallower, it's now indicating 118,000 cases for Italy. So the Italy graph looks an awful lot worse now. It's going to double basically from what I just showed you a minute ago. There you go, there's your 100,000 mark. So China's here, right, levelling off, and Italy is going to be worse than China. And this is probably a minimum forecast because it keeps moving up. And I've also made a very, very tentative attempt at doing a trend for the rest of the world. This is extremely, extremely, extremely tentative, but it gives a forecast of 620,000 cases for the rest of the world. Plus the 80,000 in China, that'd be 700,000 cases for the rest of the world. This is an absolute complete minimum forecast because it's only on documented cases, and I think a lot of the countries, or some of the countries, are way behind on their case reporting, as you can find in the news or searching any academic reports online. I won't mention the countries. It's easy to find out, you just need to search who's been understating their cases. But 700,000 cases for the world in total, again probably an absolute minimum. We're down here somewhere still. Okay, that rest of the world trend is only just starting to go. If I add to this graph, have I added to this one yet? I don't think I have. No, I haven't. 58 and 58. The rest of the world daily increase is still overtaking China.